We'll get started. Coco, a very straightforward performance out there today for you. Just talk us through your thoughts on the match, please.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how I played today. I played her in Dubai, and it was a little bit tougher. So I'm happy that I took what I learned from that match into today.
Okay, we'll start with Rob.
Hi, Coco. There was tennis this morning at 3 o'clock with Novak Djokovic, and it's a general theme in tennis throughout the slams where tennis is going on after midnight.
Yeah.
I just wonder, should there A, be a cut-off where tennis should not start, and B, what can be done? Because you're the stars, you've got to play the next day in the next match. What can be done to stop players playing so early in the morning?
Yeah, I definitely think finishing at 3 a.m. is like, I feel like a lot of times people think it's, oh, you're done, but really 3 a.m., then you have press, and then, you have to shower, eat, and then a lot of times people do treatment, so that's probably not going to bed until 5 at the earliest, maybe 6, and then even 7, so I definitely think it's not healthy and maybe not fair for those who have to play late because it does ruin your schedule. I've been lucky I haven't been put in like a super late finish yet. What can be done? I know on the tour side, they're thinking about putting, matches can't start after a certain time. I don't know if it's going to be a Grand Slam rule, but I know on like the WTA tour. And I think that's something to look at. And maybe if a match is going long, possibly moving courts. But then I know it's tough because especially here, it's only one night match and people obviously paid for those tickets. So it's a complicated thing, but I definitely think for the health and safety of the players, it would be best in the sport's best interest, I think, to try to avoid those matches finishing at or starting at after a certain time. Obviously, you can't control when they finish.
Matt and then Aki. So Matt is here. Just raise your hand.
Hey, Coco.
Hey.
Well done today.
Thanks.
Novak, Rafa, lots of other people who win these tournaments have talked about in Grand Slams sort of trying to get better with each match and improving and sort of finding their game, finding their rhythm. I mean, you play a lot. Is that also your approach when you're in a long tournament, or given where you are in your career, is there something else that goes on in terms of how you go from match to match?
Yeah, I definitely think that that's what you want to do is improve through each match. And sometimes how you start is not necessarily how you finish a tournament. For me, last week, Rome was one of those where I went in not feeling great at all. And then I left feeling good about my game. And this week, I feel like I've been managing and playing well. It's definitely, I feel, also tough conditions to play in. I just really slow and muggy. The weather makes you maybe not as hyped up for your match and just naturally. So it's definitely, I think for me, this week at Roland-Garros has been a little bit different than the past, first weeks.
Okay, we'll go Aki and then this gentleman here. So Aki.
Hi, congratulations. In the construct to Novak's match, Iga's match finished really quick, and maybe you might be, in a rush to play on your match. So how do you prepare, and how does it affect to your, mindset or preparation?
Yeah, I figured that the match, usually if you're after her, it's probably going to be a quick match. So I figured the match would probably go an hour, 15 hour at the quickest. I definitely wasn't expecting 40 minutes, but it didn't really affect much because I kind of knew and we planned for it. So yeah, it's one of those things that you kind of plan for the fastest case scenario, and I didn't feel affected by how fast it went.
Okay, we'll go here and then this guy in between Rob and Matt. Yeah.
Just picking up on the question of late finishes and health and safety and health of athletes in general. Iga said, we just accept basically what we're asked to do, that, there's no point challenging it, even though she didn't agree with it. You see it in other sports like soccer, people playing 80 games a season, a lot of injuries, and players' unions saying, the players can't take any more. Do you think athletes in general should have more of a say in this kind of thing?
I think in the way, yes. I think that we're the product essentially, and I definitely think, I feel like tournaments are becoming more understanding. Some tournaments are more understanding than others. It's tough, but I think tournaments in I can't speak for other sports because I don't know how their setup is run, but I think in general we should listen to the players more. I know there's a product to sell, and I know that, you know, there's certain things outside of the control, but overall, if there's, you know, a list of little things as like the bowls, if there's like multiple players, and I feel like it was a lot complaining about the ball changing, especially on the men's side every week, I think that's something that can be considered when it comes to tournaments and the health and safety of players. And I don't, you know, I obviously don't want to complain too much about it, because we are very blessed and privileged to be playing for, you know, a lot of money, and there's people working, you know, real jobs under worse conditions for less money and just trying to get by. So it's a balance between two things. Yes, things can get better, but also for me, it's more something that you can probably privately, I would say, I would complain about. It's just tough for me knowing, you know, where some of my family come from and where things are to, you know, and I think about the people hearing this, and yes, if I was a person working, I would be upset to hear, you know, players complain, but I definitely think there's a balance of saying publicly, like, and I do agree that things can be ran better behind the scenes, and I think that tournaments are trying their best, and players are trying their best. I just think we have to meet a middle ground for this health and safety of everyone.
Okay, we'll do 3 more here, and then there was someone there, and then this guy at the front. Yeah.
Hi, Coco. I just wanted to ask, obviously, you're playing doubles here as well, as you normally do. How has the process been for you generally in picking your partner? Like, what's the kind of thought process?
This week it was just last minute decision. I was trying to find like an American to play with, because Jessie pulled out, and obviously the Olympics are going to be here. So my whole plan at the start of the year was to try to play with somebody I could potentially play with at the Olympics. And, you know, that was kind of last minute thrown out because of Jess's injury. And I just wasn't even going to play at first. And then Taylor Townsend, unfortunately, rolled her ankle, and then she texted me about playing with Katarina, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Obviously, she's won multiple slams in the sport, and we could have a good chance, but I'm not putting too much pressure on it. I wanted to play primarily just to get, you know, some clay prep for the Olympics, because that's something an area I want to do well. So was my focus for this tournament. I will say in the future we'll be playing less doubles, but I'll still incorporate every now and then.
Hi, Coco. Hi. Danish media here. There's a chance you might face Clara Tauson in your next match. How well do you know her, and what do you think of her as a player and as a person?
Yeah, we played juniors together. I don't believe we ever played each other in juniors or pro. I have to double check that. But I have practiced with her, and yeah, I think she's a great player, and she's a solid ball striker, and she's having a great tournament. So it's very likely that I can face her. She's playing, you know, Ons, who's also a great opponent, and as a person, I haven't, you know, spoken to her a lot, but every time I do have like brief interactions with her, she's super nice. And one of my friends that I grew up with is best friends with her, so I'm sure she's a super nice girl. We just haven't had the chance to have our paths cross too much.
All right, last one.
Hey, Coco. This one goes back to way before your time, but celebrating the 50th anniversary of Chrissy's first title here.
Cool.
Just wondering how much you know about the legacy she's left behind here. 7 titles. I think she was 72-6 lifetime at RG. You know, the OG Queen of Clay. And if you have any thoughts on her career and what she's leaving behind here.
Yeah, it's obviously a great career, and I know well about her record here. And yeah, especially, you know, it's not something like Americans necessarily too well here. I think her and Serena are probably one of the few with multiple on there. So for Americans, so yeah, and Chrissy is a great person. I've gotten to know her over the last year, and you know everything that she's dealing with in her personal life. I commend her for just being, you know, still active in the sport, and she reaches out to me a lot and still active and just trying to, you know, make, I don't know if she speaks to a lot of other players, but just help us that are on tour right now and teaching us, you know, from her experience. And I think, you know, I wish her all the best, and I hope, you know, I can maybe get one. I know I probably won't get 7, but maybe just one. But it's very cool, the legacy that she has here.